Hello, everybody. It's really special for me to be here, given the fact that I am a DAIS student in the past, so thank you for inviting me. I have always been very strongly encouraging. I've been always very passionate about the environment and the community that we live in. For me, the issue was that I loved fashion. Loved fashion. I often felt torn between my choices, where I had to, thank you. I often felt torn between my choices, my fashion choices, which often didn't align with my belief system. Did you know that for most exotic animals that are farmed or poached for their skin and fur are actually killed, are skinned alive? Or for that matter, this is an image from a small village called Pali in near Rajasthan. It has 600 dyeing units in that area, and it emits 34 million liters of industrial waste in the water every day. There's 1.2 million tons of used clothing that actually goes to the landfill in UK just alone. Can we imagine how much we contribute globally to this? A garment factory sewing operator earns just about 32 pounds for working up to 140 hours in really poor working conditions. So clearly, the fashion industry, which was something that I felt extremely passionate about, my fashion choices were not aligning with what my ethical values were. It was this desire to find less guilty fashion options and choices that introduced me towards ethical and sustainable fashion. I started asking questions such as, where is it made? How is it made? With what is it made? Who makes it? These are extremely important questions for us to ask. How did this $5 t-shirt just show up at my doorstep? So even though the word pretty much says it all, it's surprising how many people have actually asked me what ethical fashion really is. So I decided to just term it myself. Ethical fashion is about celebrating real fashion and empowering communities. It is fashion that is designed and produced with respect for animals along with its environment. So many people think that ethical fashion is a niche, but I would say that today it is nothing less than a necessity for the world that we live in. Some of the biggest world problems today, such as energy depletion, forest depletion, wildlife poaching, human exploitation, child labor, waste production, is something that the fashion industry is extremely closely associated with. The fashion industry today is considered to be the most wasteful industry after oil and gas. Sustainability is the biggest trend in the fashion industry. So, there are tons and tons and tons of ways that a brand can choose to be sustainable. I've listed a few. I'm going to read out a few of them. Of course, you could choose to do fair trade. There is the use of environmentally friendly materials. There's bamboo, there's hemp, there's organic cotton that's today. 1 kilo of cotton takes about 20,000 liters of water. Use of animal-friendly material alternates. So you have extremely high-end alternates to leather today. There's vegan leather. There is, I myself worked with a bunch of scientists to produce elf, which is about 89% close to elephant ivory. We have faux fur. Support conflict-free mining. I'm sure we've all heard about blood diamonds. But it's shocking when my mom's asking me to pick a piece of jewelry and she's like, conflict-free mining? Blood diamonds? And it's very important that we start educating people and consumers to make more responsible purchases. We have recycling and upcycling. Recycling is fairly simple. Upcycling is somewhere where you make a better product than the existing product, so you're upping the cycle. You operate chemical-free production. So one of the brands that I'm working with currently, mines gold. But gold mines are actually one of the biggest reasons for water pollution because they use mercury and cyanate. So they use better mining techniques that actually do not use these chemicals. Adopt cruelty-free methods of procurement. We have something known as ahimsa silk today. Ahimsa silk is one of the Buddhist ways to cultivate silk or procure silk without actually killing the silkworm. practice zero waste production. So I personally, my dad owns a fabric manufacturing company. You should go check out my go down as to how much fabric is wasted. There are designers that are now adopting models of working where they minimize their production so that they can minimize wastage. And in return, this works out to be economical as well for them. Provide education, training, and healthcare. There are tons of fashion designers that actually drive fashion for a cause, where they share a part of their profits towards uplifting a community, providing employment to their employees, providing vocational training, healthcare benefits, etc. Conserve artisanal communities and their craftsmen. There are tons of designers that are giving these artisanal communities a chance to shine again. Adopting green shipping and packaging. It's shocking that this may seem very small, but now increasingly companies are adopting drop shipment methods, especially in cases marketplaces, which doesn't mean that in case in case of White Knife, it is a marketplace where I stock brands from other products. I don't actually stock their products with me, because so it just helps me decrease my carbon footprint in the world. And of course, design sustainably. Now, if I'm looking at designing something that's going to get out of fashion within 2 weeks of me designing it, it's going to land up in the landfill within a few weeks. So, sort of buying designs or wearing designs that you feel that will last you a longer period of time. Like, I think this yellow dress would last me a while. Like, I don't think I will be throwing this away within the next 1 year. So, I started White Knife. It's one of my companies that we're today the Asia's first marketplace for ethical and sustainable fashion products. We're certified by PETA. We are a member of the Ethical Fashion Forum, and we've been recognized as the industry leaders by the Ethical Fashion Show in Berlin. Today, we have about 25 different brands from around the world, from 16-odd countries, and ship about 300 products around. But, I didn't start White Knife White Knife isn't what I wanted it to be to begin with. White Knife started off with me graduating from Babson College in May 2012. I graduated, I spent the first 4 months trying to convince my parents to seed my company. I applied to Parsons for a master's program. I used my acceptance letter as part of a negotiation with my parents. In August 2012, I found myself in a room full of scientists who were still waiting for Miss Sonia Agarwal to show up, because clearly I didn't look her age. In December, between August to October, we actually developed a material that was very, very similar to leather, that was much better than the available leather substitutes. Unfortunately, our development got into a patent conflict with DuPont. Just a few months before this conflict had happened, I had stumbled upon a research company that was working on a different composite that was ELF. So I thought at first that a substitute to elephant ivory would be a great sister product to my leather substitute. But in December 2012, I launched White Knife, introducing the world to ELF, 89% close to elephant ivory. We were recognized as top 50 most innovative companies in the world on the New York Stock Exchange. Although I thought that was a found recognition, I thought it was very early on for me. I was very new to the industry. I barely understood its dynamics and its logistics. With a very steep learning curve, I started making and designing elf tusks and sculptural jewelry. In 2000, so that's actually how they decapitate an elephant's head while poaching an elephant. I was learning, I was meeting artisans, scouting them around, finally got into my product. In 2014, we actually designed the crown for Miss World Australia. We've been doing a lot of jewelry collections since then. Today, we have obviously expanded our, the number of causes that we actually support. So White Knife today supports a lot of economical, social causes. We support artisan craftsmanship conservation, environment sustainable materials, cruelty-free and animal-friendly social development, women empowerment, vegan, conflict-free mining, upcycling, and zero wastage. Some of the causes that I had spoken about earlier. So these are some of the brands that I'm currently working with. So, I'm really glad to see, it's very satisfying to see the shape that White Knife has taken today. But what's ahead for White Knife? We're adding about 2 brands onto the platform every week. We continue to engage with the material with which we had started the company, but we are now also introducing new brands onto the platform as a better market penetrating strategy for India. I personally believe that sustainable fashion is something that is not a fad. It is something that a lot of people say that, sustainable fashion is just like, oh, a thing. No, it isn't. It's something that's going to stay. And it is going to be one of the biggest revolutions that the world is going to experience. I'd started my journey with White Knife because I thought that my fashion choices didn't align with my ethical values. And today I find fashion to be one way that I can actually resolve these issues and actually, maybe potentially change the world. So it is my sort of way to give back to the community in a very small way. So thank you.